With the Carolina Panthers heading into Week 7, Coach Canellis and the Panthers look to build on something positive from their tough loss against their I-85 rivals heading into this week. But after making a few moves and possible returns of some injured players, could the Panthers use a jolt in its defense as well as its offense? Would it surprise you to believe that certain people believe that certain moves are on the horizon?
I don't believe anything.
Don't smasher.
Well, it might be true. Want to find out what those are? Stay tuned to find out on Growlin' and Prowlin'. Welcome back, all you prowlers and growlers. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Again, I am Mr. CeeLo, joining you again, and we have made 100, you guys. Awesome, you guys. And it's all because of you guys, your continued support, and I certainly do appreciate all the love as Growlin' and Prowlin' has been on the YouTube airwaves now for 18 months. I'm grateful, but we still got a lot of work to do, you guys, to grow this family. And it all starts with you. And I'm going to start with, and I'll let you guys know when the drawing's going to happen. I'll make sure I put it in parentheses. Joe asks, should the Panthers consider benching Dalton? Well, honestly, it depends on what the organization's goals are at this point. Me personally, I still think that, if he's provides the best opportunity for us to win, then I think you don't allow this to go away. I think you should continue to try and pursue this the best way you know how, if Dalton continues to give us the best opportunity to win. However, I saw a lot of those repetitious issues that Dalton had when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals, and some of the things that made him, that he did in New Orleans. So, needless to say, I think the goals don't necessarily change, but I think what happens is your priorities change. I think I was listening to someone on 91 The Fan. I think it was Tim O'Donnell. He was saying we need to come up with little intermediate goals and things to kind of give us a different avenue when it comes to setting goals, because apparently the playoffs is not going to be one of them. At least not to the organization, I'm assuming. But, maybe it could be something like how many times you can get Xavier Legette the ball, how many times you can get the ball to Jonathan Mingo, how many carries can you get Jonathan Brooks, or balls to Jatavian Sanders, because right now your defense is a huge issue. And I'm not going to sit here and I'm going to go off on Ichiro Avero, because there's been a lot of people that have been going off on him, saying that he has not come up with a system for the guys that we have. Look, you go all summer knowing what you're going to have. You go into training camp knowing what you're going to have. Nobody prepares on the fly to do what they need to do in a defense without its pieces. Now, I get what a lot of people are going to say. They don't like the 3-4 because it is very dependent upon having big bodies, 3 big bodies, and a lot of linebackers. Now, the thing is, having a lot of linebackers is not a problem. I've always been one. I love linebackers. I think linebackers are, you can get pretty good linebackers all over the place. You just got to know where to look. Ultimately, when you need three guys that are pretty much 300 plus, that's asking a lot, and asking a defensive coordinator to kind of plug and play in that sense. And then especially when 2 of your arguably best players on that defense are headed out the door. Now, somewhat I'm sympathetic to Ichiro Evero, but then again, part of me is like, well, you didn't utilize Jeremy Chin last year. So I still have a sore spot with that one. But to answer your question, Joe, I think ultimately, right now, we got a guy in the name of Chuba Hubbard that is third in rushing. And Dalton's had 2 games where you could argue and say that we should have played well. But really, there's nothing in this year's draft. And guys, and there's going to be a lot of y'all that are going to disagree with me. I'm not sold on Shedeur Sanders. I was watching the Texas game, and I'm not sold on Quinn Ewers anymore. I'm not sold on Carson Beck.
Stop the cap.
Is that your best? That was pathetic.
Listen, people can sit there and say, oh, it's just one game. Well, those one games can tell you a lot. There was a lot of people that put, and this is no disrespect to Bryce, but to me, when C.J. Stroud did what he did against Georgia, that showed me right there and then and there. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. But to answer your question, this is a hard question for me to answer because this is what's got to happen. Chuba Hubbard's got to get a deal signed in the middle of the season.
What?
I mean, and you're really not going to be able to do it now because guys like me saw what Chuba Hubbard were. See, again, you already making the same mistake Scott Fitterer made. You're looking like Jerry Jones. Because just like everybody else said, had he signed Dak earlier, had he signed CD earlier, or he had signed Micah Parsons, you wouldn't have had to pay quite as much. Sometimes you got to take that leap of faith, sign them early.
Dumb shit. Dumb shit.
I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? Jonathan Brooks is not going to be fully ready for at least a full year. Even when he gets going next year, if he even gets any snaps this year, it's going to take him a full year before he's going to be able to trust that knee. And then here's the other thing. You don't run the ball like that. Not yet.
Run.
But, Joe, thank you for the question. You will go down as the growler of the week. But let us get to it. As we have hit our 100 subscriber, we got the news out of the way. We also moved on from Troy Hill, one of my favorite players. Not sure why that was. They say because Dane Jackson has returned. Not a big fan of this move because I always love Troy Hill. As y'all know, he's in the opening montage. He's been quiet this year, so I don't know if that's part of it. But Wade Smith, the rookie out of Washington State, is going to be possibly playing some nickel for us this week. But I'm not a fan of this move. I think Troy Hill is one of the best nickels in the game. Somebody else will snatch him up, and he'll be doing his thing. But let's go to Week 7 matchup. The Carolina Panthers go into DC to face off with hot rookie Jaden Daniels, which is a matchup that is going to be a nightmare. As we look at this game, this was a team that beat the Bengals. And here they are hosting us in a game where arguably this could turn into a ugly situation for us. And the reason being is Jaden Daniels had a 90-something percent complete, I think it's 92 or 88% completion percentage in that game against the Bengals. Now, granted, the issue with us is not pass. The issue with us is not pass defense. I mean, I'm not saying our pass defense is good. It's been an issue, but needless to say, we're looking at a situation at this point where we're not very good defensively. But I will say this. We can get pressure to Daniels just a little bit. We might be able to force him into some things. I think Evero has to go dig into his bag of tricks. Maybe send J.C. Horn on a blitz. Start sending guys like Wade Smith on blitzes. You got to be creative with Jaden Daniels because his mobility is just absolutely tremendous. It is such a dangerous weapon because you look at the first couple of games, he was running so efficiently and teams were just kind of like, okay, He's not throwing it yet, so let's load up the box. And what happened was you had guys like Terry McLaurin and Luke McCaffrey that were getting down the field and getting open. This is not what you want. Because at the end of the day, if he gets out and he starts improvising and guys are able to run these scatter drills and get open and get down the field, this is where we're at our most vulnerable. And that's most defenses. So you definitely don't want to be in a situation where you're left chasing after ghost. The other aspect of this is we have to contain Jaden Daniels. Make him stay in the pocket. Make him have to step up into Trevion Williams and those other guys in there and make Jaden Daniels make a decision on the ball. But I honestly think we're going to have to blitz a lot in order to contain this. The running game is actually strong because of Jaden Daniels. You know, we look at how this team is built, and a lot of the things that they do are predicated around his skill set. I think if we can contain him, the running game will be sustained. But, you know, you got to also understand that we've been gashed. But the last thing we need is to have Jaden Daniels gashing us. We've got to be able to contain that. And I'm not sure if we can do that. We may have to send Nick Scott and Xavier Woods in on blitzes or run blitzes, you know, and take our shots. Because the reality of it is we're going to have to stop the run somehow. You know, and make Jaden Daniels continue to prove he's this accurate passer and that he can decipher what we're doing. I needed Coach Avero to get some exotic looks on defense, some exotic different looks, be in and out, showing the defense that this is what you think we're going to do, and totally do something different. That's what I need. Now the offensive side, which like J.C. Horn said, you know, things have changed around here. You know, now all of a sudden we're talking about the defense not being so scrappy, but here's the reality. They didn't do much afterwards either. So, you know, the offense can't, run around here questioning what's going on. But I will say this, Deontay Johnson was on the injury report, and he's going to be huge if he can't play. So I'm hoping that this guy's going to be able to play, because between Mike Sarenstiel and Benjamin St. Juste, you've got some opportunities, some win opportunities for Xavier Legette and especially Deontay Johnson. I think ultimately this is going to have to be a game plan. If we're throwing the football, he has to be the guy. This is a guy that, Dan Morgan, you need to go ahead and get him re-signed. Because I'm going to be honest with you, Deontay Johnson was on the downslide because of quarterback play. This guy's a legit number one. I'm not kidding. I did not know what we were getting when we got Deontay. I felt like the potential was there. A lot of people said he's a guy that can win one-on-ones, and he is. He is very shifty and very gifted. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, Dan Morgan, you better go ahead, get your pen ready, and sign this guy. Because if you don't, somebody else will. Because the reality of it is, whether you bring Bryce back or not, the fact is you need a quarterback to have his best friend. Okay? And while Xavier Legette is still learning the way, and let's not forget about Jonathan Mingo. You could have two, let me say it like this for you people. If you can have two Xavier Legettes on the team, wouldn't you want that? The problem is, nobody's paying attention to Jonathan Mingo. Mingo's got to get his shot. I don't know how many times I got to tell y'all this. Confidence is a huge thing when it comes to NFL players. This dude was second on the team in receptions last year. I hope y'all know this. Yeah. Even Shark didn't have as many catches as he did. Now, this is the one thing that this has been absolutely ticking me off. We are at the bottom as far as rushing goes. As a team, rushing yards. But Chuba Hubbard is third in the rushing race. He's third in yards per game rushing the football. Who cares?
You don't get it, do you?
Why don't you explain it to me?
Only Jordan Mason and Derrick Henry have more rushing yards than Chuba Hubbard.
It's official. You suck.
Now, This is hypothetical.
Is this a hypothetical question?
Do you guys think Chuba Hubbard would be in first place had Dave Canella stuck to his philosophy from the get-go?
You don't have to answer that question.
You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
And here's the thing. I don't care if you get behind. But when you know something is working, I want all of you to hear me, and some of you have heard this before. It makes no sense to go change a belt on a car when the belt's still working. Or better yet, this for folks that may not, the analogy that for folks that know cars. Here's the thing. Why would you change a light bulb that ain't blowed yet?
Yoo-hoo. I'll make you famous.
Exactly. Look. A team knows what they're up against. Every team walks in here and says they want to get up fast or they want to start fast. This is especially important for you, Dave Canellis. Here's the thing. If you know you have an offensive line that is built to run the football, why are you trying to throw it twice as many times as you run it?
You fucking idiot.
Especially if they show they ain't stopped it. You the knucklehead that keep putting Miles Sanders in there when Chuba Hubbard's hot. What for? I don't understand why he's not on the trademark. You want to trade Chuba and think, oh, they going to give me a first? No! You already know they don't want to pay running backs, let alone trade big dollars for them.
Bruh.
This is why you need to be, Dan Morgan, you need to sign Chuba back. But the reality of it is, when you look at how this offense is built, it's built to run the football. And why Dave Canellis wants to get away, I'm going to show you I can coach.
My foot up your edge, you dumb mother.
How about showing me you can understand the ebb and flows of a game? Show me you know the ebb and flows of a game. That you know we're running the ball efficiently. If we're going to pass based on it. Whatever they're willing to submit to us, that's what we're going to do. And I don't know when you're going to start taking some real shots. I mean, Deontay Johnson's got the speed, but I'm going to say it like this. There should be some routes where he's just going to run it down the field. If the safety goes with him, guess what? There should be a design for a deep crosser and a shallow crosser. Why we don't run those type of plays, I'll never know. Because guess what? You're eating up the entire field. The entire field, which should be the point, at least 60% of your pass plays. You make the entire defense cover the whole field. The whole field. And this could be a dangerous game because as I was looking at the statistics, they average right at 220 yards rushing. And they're top 5 running the football. So we could be in huge trouble against this team. We're going to have to block Frankie Louvu. Y'all remember him? Growl out to you, Frankie. We still miss you and we still got love for you. Well, I'm not like a lot of Carolina Panther fans. I don't just throw you away because you signed for more money. You deserved it. You played for us underpaid for 2 extra years. That's on Dan Morgan and Scott Fitterer not to sign you to a long-term deal talking about bet on yourself. You was a blame fool to make that deal. And I'm always going to be mad about that one. And all of y'all should be mad about that. Because when you had a chance to sign him long-term, you should have. The man had 2.5 sacks a couple weeks ago. That's what we need right now. That's what we need. Yeah, all I can say is that, yeah, the way they worded it, Brady Christensen, they deploy him up the middle. Whereas Coach Avero had very different variety of places they wanted him deployed at. But I love the way he's being deployed at DC. And I know he is. He's got 3 sacks on the year, and he had 2.5 in one game. And I can tell you something right now. Offensive line is not the problem, but Dalton has a notion to hold the football. But if the play calling by Coach Canellis ain't better than what it's been being the last couple of weeks, he could come up with some huge sacks in this game. Ain't no getting around it. But how I see this game going, I think this turns into a possible shootout. And this could be a game that Chuba actually goes off because Washington's defense has some issues stopping the run. So they're in the middle. They're near the bottom. I mean, well, they're at the near top, bottom third. You know, the top, bottom third. So if Canellis is smart, he give the ball to the third leading NFL rusher in the NFL. That's all I'm saying. Not saying it because he's on my fantasy team. But hit me up and let me know what you guys think. Also, go to the Facebook page, Growling and Prowling. It's our 100 subscriber show, guys. Let us know what you think. And also, when you subscribe, please put your name down in the comments. When you subscribe, put your name down in the comments, please, so I can know who you are. I'm going to have this drawing, and I want to be able to know who I'm making this for. And I want to contact you and get your information and whatnot. Also, when if you got any comments about the show, comment them down there. And if you want to find out the other things I'm involved in at Mr. CeeLo, drop me a line. Find out what's up. Find out what I'm involved in. But until the next time, keep prowling the airwaves and keep growling out. Keep pounding.